Something that I know that a lot of people don't know. And I know that people don't know this because I've been coaching for almost 11 years and I speak to people all the time. And I've met people from all different parts of the world. Some being clients that have done my paid programs, some being friends, people that I've met on my travels. And a lot of people will often reveal in conversations that they're not happy in their life and they want to make changes, but they feel stuck. They don't know how to do it, they're scared to do it. And because they haven't had enough experience, they've not faced enough fear in their life, they don't realize what they're missing out on. And I didn't know that I was missing out on something that is just incredibly life changing many years ago because I'd never really pushed myself enough to get to that point. So, facing fear gives you confidence in all aspects of life. And the confidence that you gain from facing your fears, it enables you to create the life that you want. Because it's impossible to create the life you want without self-confidence. You need a certain amount of confidence. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to have every insecurity and every issue and every anxiety worked out, but you need a certain amount of confidence and strength to be able to go forward in the world and take action and do practical things. So I'm going to explain different things in this area today. Just want to say thanks to everyone that come down to my event. I did an event today in London, and just words can't describe how much I enjoyed it. I loved it. We had quite a big group of guys. Went to a nice hotel, and I done some coaching, some mentoring, and got to know everyone. And people shared their stories and what they're struggling with and what they want to change. And I listened to everybody, and everybody at the talk pretty much wanted to change something in their life that they weren't happy about, but they were scared to do it. They were scared to do it in case they failed. They felt stuck. They didn't know where to start. They didn't know if it was the right time. All those different predicaments, which always come back to my original teaching, which is, you're not going to learn this stuff. You're not going to gain confidence. You're not going to make money. You're not going to change the job that you hate and do a job that you love. You're not going to get the right relationship. You're not going to recover from bad relationships and build better ones by reading books. It's just not going to help. If that was the case, then everybody would be skinny, happy and rich, or just happy, and most people are miserable. They're not. I don't know the exact statistics, but I heard a very successful person say something around this, that there was a study done, and apparently 85% of the whole universe of people that live on Earth are not happy. It's crazy. There's only like a small percentage of people that are actually happy in their life and doing what they love. And I spoke about that today at the event. I shared my story, or parts of my story, with the guys and explained that, for the first 15 or so years of my life, I was so unhappy. I wanted to commit suicide because I wasn't doing what I loved. I was doing dead-end jobs because I felt like I didn't have a choice. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like it wasn't possible for me. Other people were better than me, and I just didn't have what it took. Obviously, I later learned when I started going out and challenging myself and just putting myself in situations which really frightened me. I learned that that wasn't true, that no one could hold me back, even though it felt like that at times. Even though there were times in my life where I felt like negative friends were holding me back, like people didn't want me to succeed. I had a lot of that because of getting bullied growing up and just taking on a lot of negativity and self-doubt and having low self-esteem and a low opinion of myself. So when it got to the point when I started to go out, and first of all, for me, a big part of getting over fear was facing the fear of people. Most of the clients I've worked with have the same fear, social anxiety. It starts off there and it goes a little bit deeper, and they're just scared to do new things. So I understand that. I come from that place of being scared of pretty much everything. I mean, everything. Asking a girl out, job interviews, speaking, going to an event. Certainly could never have imagined in my wildest dreams, I would never ever have imagined that I would have had the confidence and the courage to set an event up and go and do a public talk in front of 10, 20, 30 people and be relaxed and confident. Never believed I could do it. Never. When I was in that headspace, I thought I was a terrible person. I always thought that I won't be able to speak. You know, I'm going to start stuttering and getting awkward. And I'm going to embarrass myself. Everyone's going to laugh at me, or they're going to think, they're going to think, terrible things about me. So through that process of setting goals and saying to myself, right, let me be really honest, and we did this exercise today at the group. If you're not honest to start with, you can't get nowhere in this life. This is really challenging because, unfortunately, it's not because people are bad people, I don't believe, but most people are not honest because it hurts to tell the truth about where you're struggling to begin with. But if you face the truth and you improve those struggles, it doesn't hurt anymore. So I've said it before, I do admire people when they say, look, and I hear it all the time at my events or clients, they say, look, I don't enjoy my job. A guy at the event today was saying that, he makes 100 grand a year, but he doesn't enjoy what he does. And I respect his courage. He said he's come to the conclusion that money in and of itself is not going to make him happy. He's tried it. So he's making 100 grand a year. He's not in a job that he enjoys. It's a good job, but he doesn't enjoy it. So for him to change that situation, what's he going to have to do? I told him to his face, he's going to have to face his fears of change. He's going to have to take that risk, quit the job that he's in at some point and go off and he wants to start his own business, and he knows what he wants to do. He can do it. He's a smart guy. I spoke to him. If you're in a job anyway and you're making 100 grand a year and you hate the job, you can change that job. You've got savings anyway. I changed my whole life and I didn't have any savings. I just dived in and I just wouldn't quit. And with that mindset, you're always going to be successful. So I honestly feel that so many people are selling themselves short. They're holding themselves back because they don't push themselves enough, because they tell themselves, I can't do it. They're not willing to be a beginner. They're not willing to go through that process of getting outside of your shell, of getting uncomfortable, of being nervous. There's nothing wrong with being nervous, because everybody has times when they're nervous. But the problem is being nervous and not doing anything. So if I had, for example, two people and, both of them were scared of starting their own business, both terrified, and one was just reading books, but the other one said, I want to actually go for it and start a business. And he did what I told him to do, get a website, have a YouTube channel, have a meetup group, have a product, and get on the phone and start selling your product or service and giving value. I'd get him to do it. That guy, no matter how nervous he is, if he keeps doing what I tell him to do and facing the fear and doing the training, he will eventually become confident and he won't be that nervous no more. So being nervous and being afraid and anxious, it's not a final destination. You're not going to be there forever. There's just certain moments where you're going to feel like that until you get used to that situation, which you can only get used to that situation by exposing yourself to that situation and practicing. So my life changed many years ago when I started to practice managing fear and facing it in any area where I had fear. I would go and face it. I still do that. That's how I live my life. I love it. It's a really challenging way to live, but it's extremely rewarding, because the old way that I used to live, which is the way that most people are living who want my help, was a disaster. I know it's quite deep, but I'm just being honest. There was times where I always would think about ending my life because it was so unbearably miserable, and I didn't feel good about myself. And I'm just being honest. If you don't do what you love, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do in your life that makes you happy, you're not gonna really like yourself. It's very hard. It's a connection. And I know for a fact that when I was living the life in my old life, I didn't really like myself, because it was hard to like someone who is miserable every day and who is doing jobs or in relationships or in a life that they don't enjoy. There's not much self-esteem there. So when I started going out and facing my fears, I went to boxing, I went to meetup groups, I started going on dates, I did public speaking, I eventually quit my job that I wasn't enjoying, I hated. I started my own business and I absolutely loved doing confidence coaching, helping men to overcome anxiety in all areas of life. Once I found my purpose in life, then I became so much more happier, and I started to like myself and improve the way that I felt about myself, regardless of what anybody else thought. So it all connects together, being confident in yourself, appreciating yourself, liking yourself, having good self-esteem, doing what you love. You have to really work hard to get to this point. It's all good and well saying just accept yourself or just love yourself, but that's not good enough because it doesn't work for people. It's just nonsense. It would be great, yeah, it would be wonderful if everybody just accepted themselves and loved themselves. Probably the world would be a better place, but the reality is that doesn't work psychologically for most people. You can't just accept that you're a loser. You can't just accept that you're a coward. You can't just accept that you're in a job that you hate and you don't enjoy doing, and it's taken up most of your life. You can't accept that. You can't accept that in a way to lie to yourself and just say, yeah, I accept myself, I love life, when the truth is you don't. So I'm all about honesty and truthfulness. I would respect someone who is honest. I'd rather be honest and say, yeah, I don't enjoy my life. There's nothing about it I enjoy, and I'm not happy with who I am, but I want to change it, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to change my life and be happy and find happiness. That's a much better narrative, because we can actually get to success like that and get to happiness. But if someone is in denial and using, affirmations and quotes to hide the true feelings of how they really feel deep down, all you're doing is putting a plaster on a big wound, a big pain that isn't going to go away anytime soon. So I know this is quite, I don't know, I'm presuming this is quite hard hitting for people to hear. And it certainly wasn't a conversation that I enjoyed hearing years ago when I was struggling. But I'll tell you what now, these are the conversations that you'll appreciate if you really want to change your life. Because without honesty and without being truthful, you're not going to change anything, are you? Because if you're overweight and you're out of shape and you're not happy, and you just say to yourself, yeah, I'm happy as I am, and I'm okay with the way I am, but deep down you're not okay with the way you are, and you're not happy in your own body, then you've got to get off your ass and go to the gym and have a diet, start eating healthy and train and lose some weight or improve your physique. So all these things take confidence, and all of it is about being truthful, accountable to, what is the truth. And like I said, I'm always confident, really confident when I teach that people can do it, because I've done it. And I know that I'm not better than anyone, and I'm not below anyone. I've got a lot of ability, just like everybody else. Especially coming from, stereotypically, my background doesn't have great statistics of people making something great of their life, which is obviously not true. But statistically, lots of people who come from my background, which is a working class background, and I grew up in a council estate, and I come from a relatively poor family and quite a limited poverty mindset. Statistically, I'm not really supposed to be where I am today. I'm not supposed to be, built the success that I built and helped so many people. But I refused. I refused to be another number. I refused to be another statistic off of ignorant society that likes to marginalize and stereotype. I'm not saying everyone. I was never going to let that happen. You're welcome. So, that's when I went out and figured out this way of living. And on a practical level, it's really simple. When you get down to it, it's simple. It takes a lot of courage. But the actual method behind changing any aspect of your life is about confronting the fears until you get there. I know that people need to hear these talks because, when you're in your own head, you're in your own world, and it's always usually negative and fearful and pessimistic, and people feel, I know how they feel, I know the mind, people feel trapped. I've been there so many times myself. So I'm fascinated. I would like to write a book one day or make a film on these common life patterns that at some point everyone finds himself in. I've been there, stuck in a job that you don't enjoy. You're only doing the job because you need the money, or you've told yourself that, or because you feel that you don't know what else you want to do, that's all you can do. And a lot of the times, people are doing jobs that they don't enjoy to please their parents. And I don't think that's right. What's the point? You're going to have a bad mental health, or people are doing jobs to please society. So being stuck in a job and then saying, well, I can't leave my job because what am I going to do about my rent? Well, you're going to stay there forever then. Because the truth is, look, I understand people got bills to pay, we've got to pay rent, of course. But you can use that as an excuse and a rationalization. You're going to stay there forever then. So for me, like one of the guys said at the event, which I really appreciated, he said, living his dreams is more important than money. Money is important to a certain degree, but like I said, you've got people that make a lot of money, but they're in jobs that they hate. It wears them out. They're stressed. It's aging them. It's making them sick. They don't enjoy it. They're not happy. So what's the point? What's the point in having 100 grand a year if you're doing a job you don't enjoy? The money's not worth it. So it really comes down to, have you got the guts to follow your heart and live your dreams? And you can do it if you really want to do it. That's what it comes down to. If you really want to do it, you're going to do it. You're not going to make excuses. You'll find a way, and you're going to take gradual steps towards going towards the job that you want to do and leaving the job that you don't want to be in. So basically, people have to build the confidence to leave their existing job and then go and do the job that they love, or go and start the business that they want to do. And if people really want to do it, they can do it. I've done it. Yeah. But it's what people tell themselves. I said this at my event today. Years ago, when I was struggling, I was kind of in between being unemployed and doing dead-end jobs, and a friend of mine said this to me. I always remember it. I was sitting in his living room, a good friend of mine, really good friend, and he said to me, you know, Jonathan, why don't you start your own business? And at that time, my mindset was so negative. I had no self-belief, and I said to him, I can't start my own business. How am I going to do that? I didn't go to university. I don't have a business degree. And he was like, but you can. And I just dismissed it. That's fear. That's ignorance. That's just letting the mind close it down. Now, funny enough, about, 5 or 6 years later, I changed as a person. I got around different people, and I eventually did start my own business. So sometimes people can see talents in you that you can't see in yourself. I see it all the time with clients. I know what they can do because of the experience of what I've done when I thought I couldn't do things, or because of helping clients to do things that they didn't believe they could do, because fear, beliefs, thoughts, emotions, people's opinions, being stuck. So the way that you unstuck yourself from any predicament, it could be a relationship, another pattern that I've been in and people are in, another life challenge that we all go through. People are in a relationship, they're not happy in it, but they say, well, I'm scared to leave it because this is all I have, and it's better than being lonely, and I don't believe I can meet someone else. But again, that's not true. It feels real when you're there. I've been there. I've been through it many times in my life where I've been in a relationship and I'm not happy, and I'm kind of scared to leave it because I'm thinking, I'm not sure if I can get something else. And there's some positives here, there's things I like, but deep down if you're not happy. Even if there are some things you like, you wouldn't be thinking that. You wouldn't be having self-doubt. So in regards to changing jobs, changing relationships, starting new things, they may be different situations, but it's the same procedure. You've got to face your fears. You've got to get uncomfortable. You've got to face depression. I thought of that today. I really want to share this on this channel, that I've realized lately that facing fear is always a lot more in most cases. So if you're in a job you don't enjoy and you want to give up your job and start your own business, you're going to have to face depression. No person could be in a job that they don't enjoy and not be depressed. The two go hand in hand. I know from experience, from being there myself and getting out of it and working with clients and meeting people. People tell you when you meet them, even if you don't ask them, even if they're not clients, at some point it comes out. People's jobs and what they do is a big part of, of who they are. Now, I'm not saying that your job is your identity, but what I'm saying is it comes out. People can't hide that. So I've been around so many people, and it's less people that I'm around who love what they do versus people who will always say, "Oh, I've got to go to work tomorrow." I know what that means. I already know what that means. When you love what you do, you don't say that. So when you go, "Oh, I've got work tomorrow," it's like you're dreading your job. So and then, eventually people will say, "Oh, my job is stressing me." That's the most common thing I hear from people. My job is very stressful. Listen, we all have a certain amount of stress, and even when you do what you love, there's stress, but it's not the same. When you don't like what you're doing, you're always going to have massive stress. But yeah, all these things, that's the thing, man. People will use anything to make an excuse. So, as you said, you don't like your job, it's getting you out of debt. Yeah, that's good. Well done. It's good that you're clearing your debt. That's important. But I don't know if you want to live your dreams. I don't know much about you. You can tell me. But I'm assuming you're on my channel, and that can be a hiding place. I said that to the guy. I say, be careful with hiding places. Hiding places are rationalizations, which fear creates, excuses, reasons as to why you can't change something in your life that you're not happy with. The truth is, I know there are some unfortunate situations, but the majority of people who are well, they can change their life anytime they want. Now, am I saying it's going to be easy? No, I'm not saying that. But just because it's not easy, don't mean you can't do it. The fact that it's not easy means you should do it. And the fact that it's difficult will mean when you do it, you will value it. Like I said before, I was stuck in a rut for more than 10 years. I went between job after job, dead-end job. I was, and this is no disrespect to any job. I've always said I come from humble beginnings, so I respect anyone who works hard. But I'm just telling you my story about what I did, and I didn't enjoy it. Jobs that I've done. I've cleaned toilets in hotels. I've been a dishwasher. I've worked on a market stall selling shoes and clothes. I've worked as a builder, a labourer. I worked as a postman. I quite enjoyed that. I worked in retail. I did cold calling. Now, although I appreciated these jobs at the time and I was a concierge, I did not enjoy these jobs. I hated them. I didn't enjoy them, and I hated myself for doing these jobs because I knew that it wasn't it's not my passion. So it really comes down to, what are you passionate about? And it's not really about the amount of money that you make, as I said, because you've got some people who make 100 grand a year, they hate their job. Then you've got some artists who might make 20 grand a year and they love their job. So we're not talking about amounts of money here. We're talking about amounts of emotional freedom, enjoying what you do and expressing yourself and being true to who you are as a person and what you want to do. And we do live in a culture that convinces people, even though there are so many opportunities today, probably more than ever now with the internet, especially for businesses, people think so small. They allow themselves to tell themselves and believe that there are no opportunities, and it's not true. And that's why that's why I started doing business coaching on this channel, because I'm so passionate about what I do, about teaching. And I love working with people that are passionate. One of my clients, Philip, who's doing my 1-year anxiety program, he's worked with me for a long time. He's building a business right now. The guy's unbelievable. The guy's got so much courage and guts. He invested the 10K in my coaching, which takes guts, and he faces fear. And he's got 2 paid clients. He's changed his life. His business is going from strength to strength, and he's a good person. He's hardworking. He's got guts. He's got balls. But most people, they can't seem to find that courage. And I'm not putting them down. I'm trying to help them. I'm saying they could do more. I used to be like that. I was one of these people. I was a coward. I didn't try new things. I was so afraid of failing. And when you live like that, you get a miserable life. So for me, success is facing fear. If you fail, so what? At least you tried. No, there's no shame in that at all. There's no shame in that. There's no shame if one of you said to me, well, I asked someone out and they said no. Well done for trying. Or I went to a job interview and I didn't get the job. Well done, you tried. Like that. That's how you be successful in life. That's what makes you a better person. That's admirable. That's respectable. But to not try, to just accept, to just stay where you are and moan, it's insanity. But that's what people do. They love moaning and complaining about how much they don't enjoy their job, how their boss doesn't treat them well, how it's wearing them down, how it's stressing them out, but they don't do something about it, and they just keep getting the same problem year in, year out. It's all on you, man. It's all on us. We can't blame anybody because we're going to stay where we are. I'm not saying that you don't have a right to say that you might not be being treated well at work. You do have a right to say that, and you have a right to obviously report someone if they're not treating you well or complain. But at some point, you've got to change it. You can't just blame everyone else because you don't like your job. You've got to take responsibility unless you want to stay where you are. So that's another really important factor. And the more you do these things, the easier it gets over time. It does. It's crazy. Human being, so many amazing things about people that I've learned. People get better the more they practice. They don't get worse. And as I said in my story, man, the amount of fears and insecurities that I had throughout my life and the amount that I've overcome, which is why I'm proud of myself. And I want you guys to feel proud of yourself, because you are proud of yourself when you do that. When you've come from the background that pretty much all of us have come from, shy, anxious, being bullied, being put down at school, having depression, having mental health. When you come from that place and you really suffer, it's a horrible thing. When you start to build confidence and overcome fears and insecurities and inhibitions, it's a wonderful feeling. That's what for me makes my life exciting, and teaching other people. So, you really do address so many of these issues. And as I said before, it was such a great learning journey for me to go on this journey at the start and really not know where it was going to go. That's interesting. Reading your comment, it was amazing to not know where this journey was going to go at the start. You just start off by saying, well, I'm a bit depressed. I'm not very confident around people. Then you start, practicing talking to people. Then you gain a bit more confidence, and then you ask someone out, and you go on a date, and you think, oh, wow, maybe I could do a bit more in my life, and you can. Maybe I could actually do public speaking. This is how my mindset started to think, and I did it. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm proud to say it. My first public talk, although I was successful in going and doing it, I got nervous and anxious, and I wasn't able to speak without stuttering. But you know what? It wasn't bad at all, because I got motivated to go and have a go again a few weeks later and to practice again. And I just kept doing the talks, and then I got more confident. So it's another thing that a lot of people don't really want to deal with, and that's making mistakes, getting a bit embarrassed from time to time, getting awkward, failing, not feeling like you're performing to your best. All successful people have to go through that. No, I don't think I ever did, Timmy. Maybe when I was younger with my mum, long time ago, breakfast clubs. Excuse me. The reason why I like giving these talks, and they're quite repetitive, because you have to keep repeating the truth and what you've got to do to get into people's heads until they can really believe that they can do it for themselves. Because if I don't do these talks, or if you don't have someone to motivate you, like I did many years ago, Les Brown changed my life, played a massive part, then you're just going to be thinking your negative thoughts. And it's the consistent negative thoughts that you think regularly that are sabotaging you and that are keeping you in the life that you don't want to be in. So you can change it. That's what's so exciting. It doesn't cost money. You don't need money. You don't need cars. You don't need watches. You don't need followers on Instagram. You don't need fake stuff. All you need is you. All you need is you and your courage. the ability to act and go and do new things. You don't need money to start with. You don't. That's an excuse. I didn't have money when I started. You know, I made money later on, but you need courage. And it's all about facing discomfort. It's all about getting comfortable or just jumping into situations, whatever they may be. Most of them for people are around social situations where you don't feel comfortable. And the more you do that, the stronger you become. You just get used to it. That's what happened to me. I still have anxiety. I have anxiety every day, like all of you do. But I've just got so used to facing difficult things and just being comfortable in them and confident. I have it. I have the same as all my clients, as all of you do, but it doesn't hold me back. I use fear. I use it as an energy to go forward. It's amazing. It changes your life rather than letting it use you and panicking because you feel fear. And that's one of the best exercises that I learned and skills is the ability to feel fear, to feel anxiety in your body, to be nervous inside, to have some nervous thoughts in your head, but to be able to be calm and confident and collected and relaxed and talk to people, or dance or sing or speak or do boxing, the whole expression of the human being. And I'm, like I said, I'm so passionate about all this because I struggled with this for so many years before I even got to the point of being able to teach other people. I was paralyzed. I literally was living in a mental and emotional prison every single day of my life. I just felt like I was in darkness. I was so frightened of taking one step forward and trying in case everybody judged me or laughed at me or thought that I was a terrible person or I was weak or I was unintelligent or I was unsuccessful. And the reality was, it's not real, it's an illusion. It's just all in your head. It doesn't matter what other people think to a large degree. What matters is what you think. What matters is the action you take. And funny enough, the more action you take, the less up here you worry about what they're thinking about you, what anybody's thinking about you, because you get present and you get focused and you feel good about yourself. So facing fear improves mental health. Facing fear consistently makes you more intelligent. It definitely makes you a better person. I know I wasn't the best person I could be when I was in a bad place because I had low self-esteem and I was jealous of people that were better than me. I was very insecure. I was very in my own world. I was very selfish, although I had a good heart like most people do. But when I became successful and confident, those things changed. I wasn't jealous like I used to be because I didn't feel jealous anymore because I was successful. And your whole attitude changes, your character improves. So it improves so many things, It really does. It's underrated, or maybe it's misunderstood in our society because it's such a raw statement that sometimes it's too truthful, I guess, for some people. I'm not saying everyone. I know lots of people, they like this honesty, but you don't it's not promoted that much today in society for people. Like, it's not on buses. Or I haven't seen it, maybe it is, but it's not really out there. Like, face your fears, live your dreams. It's more like the opposite. It's more like feel like a loser. Just do what you just have a low opinion of yourself. Just get by. Just hope to be happy. Just hope to meet someone. It's a loser's mentality. There's no guts in it. It's not honourable. It's not positive. It's very negative. So my message is positive, and I know it works. And I know that people can do it. They just need to be pushed a bit, encouraged, because the reason why I know they can do it, because I did it. And there's no client I've ever worked with in my life who was more difficult than I was. I was the most difficult person to work with. This guy up here, working with that for many years, what I suffered, my insecurities, my anxieties, my paranoia, my low self-esteem, my past, that used to be such a heavy burden. I didn't believe I could ever get out of it. And that's what used to scare the shit out of me and make me feel like I want to kill myself. But I was afraid to kill myself, and I was afraid to live, and I was afraid to die. But I was more afraid to stay where I was, and I was afraid to change. I was afraid in every department. I was cornered, but I didn't realize in the end that was actually going to be a positive thing. It was going to force me to grow. It was going to force me to face things that I just thought I can't face. That it's like a, excuse me, I'm getting a cough. So I know what I'm talking about, you know. Pretty amazing that, you know, I know that a lot of people who grow up and they're shy and they get bullied. I was the same, and they're quite sensitive. And a lot of people look at people like that and laugh at them. I had it, and they doubt them, and they look at them as like weak, but they don't realize that same person could transform and just completely go from a scared lamb to a confident person through practice, through working at these things and going out and just being brave one step at a time. You know, you don't have to be perfect. That's the great thing about this. You don't have to be perfect. Thank you, Timmy. Yeah, I'm gonna get my vitamin C in, or citrus. Pretty amazing what people can do, man. It's a sad thing sometimes about being a coach and working and changing people, that you can't help it when you meet people. You see the potential in people, and it's sad, it's heartbreaking at times that people don't see it in themselves. It's heart-throbbing at times when I meet people and they're good people, they're very nice people, they're kind. I want them to be happy and succeed, but they don't see it in themselves because of the low self-esteem, negative people around them, not knowing how to break out of their own patterns and their own fears and insecurities and what they were taught from growing up, or what their surroundings made them believe about themselves. It's very sad, man, very sad. Especially good people, when you're like, I really like this person, they're a good person, but they're suffering, they're not happy, and they deserve better. But listen, if you don't be accountable for yourself, then not much is going to change, unless someone does it for you, and that's kind of unlikely. Hello, mate. Is that my friend that I work with? We worked together from Los Angeles. Is that you, Leo, mate? I really appreciated our time. It was amazing. How are you, man? I'm going to share some of the things today that a lot of the guys said that are really helpful. Some great things come out of the meetup today. One guy said, basically, he said that he's tired of distractions. He said he's sick and tired. He's a smart guy. He knows what he needs to do. He's had some success in life. He's not happy with certain areas of his life, and he said, I need to stop allowing distractions to stop me from living my purpose in life, my dream, because I know what it is, but my mind, my life, social media is distracting me. I said, that's great, you're right. And fear will do that. You know, people, look, this is what people do. When I first went to the amateur boxing gym, obviously you had a lot of boxers who got in and did the sparring, the fighting. But there was always people, I was one of them to begin with, I'm not embarrassed to say it, but I was afraid, I was scared to death. I was a coward in that department, and I tried to avoid the sparring. So I would hit the bag, I would do the skipping, I would do the shadow boxing, I would do the press ups, I would stand outside the ring and watch the boxers box, but I didn't want to go in because I knew it was going to be difficult, and I knew that I was going to have to face all my inhibitions and my insecurities about myself. All my demons were going to surface, or at least to me they were, when I got in that ring, and there was a risk that I could lose and get beaten up or get outboxed, and I was frightened of that, scared of that, and people watching and looking at me and then judging me. So I found lots of ways to get out of it, but it got to a point one day where the trainer noticed and didn't let me escape anymore. He said to me, you got to go in next. And I was like, oh, Can I do it next time? He said, no, you got to go in today, get your gum shield and get your head guard. My legs were shaking and I felt like I was going to vomit, and I felt so frightened. I felt like I wanted to call my mum to rescue me. What's up, Frank? So when I got in the ring, I was petrified, absolutely petrified, but I got through it. I didn't, I survived it. When I come out and got out and went home on the train, I felt on top of the world. Another realization. What's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is when you face what you're terrified of, you feel amazing after. So another thing, again, a lesson on fear. Every single time, generally, I faced a fear in my life, although it might be challenging and scary and nerve-wracking, when it's done, I feel happy after. And it's just intrinsic to the human psyche. It's not even, I would say, for men and women. Maybe a bit more for men. I could be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong about that. But for both men and women, there's something intrinsic about that. You could say biological, you could say it's God, you could just say it's nature, whatever it may be. There's something in us that responds positively when we face a challenging situation and we overcome it. Whether you want to say it's the relief of surviving, it could be that, great. Whether it's like a healthy ego because you think, oh, I'm proud of myself for doing that, so you should be. So it's a great thing. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, getting outside of the comfort zone. And what I love this, I love it for my clients, of any of you, people get better. This is something that a lot of people don't get, that I didn't used to get. Just because you're not good at something today, it doesn't mean that you can't get better at it tomorrow, the next day. Listen, most things I've done, guys, in my life, I'm not being humble, I'm being honest. Most things I've done at the start, I sucked. I wasn't good. I weren't good. I wasn't good at talking to women. I wasn't good at dating. I wasn't good in business. And I wasn't good at public speaking. I wasn't good at speaking on YouTube. I wasn't good at cleaning my apartment. I wasn't good with fashion. I wasn't very good at things to begin with. I wasn't good at boxing. I wasn't good at weight training. But the thing about me was, I had that mentality, and coming from a place of being bullied and all that kind of stuff, I won't quit. I'm obsessed. I'll keep doing it and asking and learning, and I eventually will get good. So everything you see today is a byproduct of me falling on my ass, getting back up, facing it again and again, being laughed at, being judged, being put down, being dismissed, being doubted all my life, same as you guys have probably been. And then building the confidence and eventually becoming good. And again, that's why I'm a good speaker, because I didn't used to be a good speaker. I didn't. That's why I can do these live streams and I can do my events, and I won't run out of things to say. The only reason I won't run out of things to say is because I used to always run out of things to say in front of people, because I was so nervous and in my head. I'd always run out. I'd always go quiet and be like, I'd always be awkward. Until I started to practice speaking and getting used to my own voice and building that confidence and getting that focused energy, getting in that flow state. That's why I said anyone can do it. You can't just do something once or twice and say I'm not good at it, unless you generally don't enjoy it. Fair enough. You got. If you want to achieve something in your life, let's say you want to be good in business or selling, then you have to at least do, I would say, at least 6 months before you come to that conclusion that you're not good. I don't believe it. I don't believe that most people are not good at things. I believe that most people don't practice them enough and they never get to that point of getting good. That's what I believe. I believe that people tell themselves lies because it's easier than it is to tell themselves the truth and face fear and face the emotions and be patient and be hardworking and face suffering and face life and face the truth and get to that point. It's easy for people just to say, I'm not good at that, or I'm not that person. How many times do you hear it? Oh, I'm not very social. I'm very introverted. I'm not good in groups. I'm not very good at eye contact. I'm not very good at starting conversations. I'm not very good at entertaining people. I've heard it all before. It's all bullshit. It's all a load of rubbish. Because the truth is, if you really wanted to get good at that, you could get good at it. because I did it, everyone can do it. And I was a self-proclaimed, I used to say it myself as well. I told myself that for years. I told myself, I'm not good one-on-one, I'm not good in groups, I'm not outspoken, I'm not confident, I'm not interesting, um, I'm not a good public speaker, I'm quiet, I'm shy. I told myself all these things. Now I don't feel like that, because obviously that's not the truth, and I can do all these things because I've practiced them. So if you're willing to keep going and not make excuses, it's unbelievable what you can achieve. But if you tell yourself you can't do things because, there's always a because. People do it on this channel, and I want to help more people. They say, I can't get a good dating life because my social anxiety won't let me. That's a load of bullshit. Or I can't change my job because of anxiety. That's not true, man. It's not true. I did it. Why can't you do it? You can do it. You're telling yourself you can't do it because you're listening to the insecurities and you've made that decision. I didn't tell you that. I never told you that you can't do it, or your friend told you that you can't do it because he can't do it. He's scared. He's jealous. There's a lot of that goes on. Crabs in a bucket. You know, one doesn't want the other one to succeed because it makes him feel bad. You got to change that. You know, that's why you got to succeed. I can accept there are certain things that some people are not good at and some people are better at other things, but generally, when we're talking about today, becoming confident with people, changing your job, doing what you love, overcoming insecurities. Anyone can do this stuff if they really want to do it. And do you know what? It's not even that hard if I think about it. It's hard, but it ain't that hard. Do you know what's harder? Do you know the hardest thing I found is living a life of defeat, of living a life of misery. That's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Living like a loser. It's terrifying. It's absolutely soul destroying. Living a life when you're not happy and you're not facing fear and you just hide away. I did that for the first 15 years of my life. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done because nothing changes. You've got nothing to look forward to. You don't like yourself. You're not proud of yourself. And it's very hard from that place to I'm going to say it, it's hard to help other people and give value. Oh, what's happening from Dallas? I appreciate it, man. Thanks. Yeah, it requires a lot of practice to get over nervousness. That is the solution to beating nervousness, practice. Practice is beautiful, man. Practice saved my life, It really did. It's helped me to help so many clients. Honestly, man, I think people would be heartbroken if they could experience, let me get this right. People would be heartbroken if they could experience what they could really do, if they really had to do it, and they had no choice. They'd be heartbroken. Do you know why they'd be heartbroken? It happened to me. I've been heartbroken many times in my life because they suddenly realize the time that they've wasted, and that all the time they were telling themselves they couldn't do things, they could do it. If only they could push themselves a bit more, their life could be amazing. So it's never too late. But yeah, it is heartbreaking when it happened to me. It happens to many successful people. The first 15 years of my life, I didn't make money. I didn't really have a girlfriend. I didn't have a business. I couldn't inspire people. I couldn't go down the boxing gym. I couldn't travel. All these things I missed out on. It's very sad. It hurts. But when you eventually do it, you appreciate it. And then you realize why you were staying in a life that you didn't enjoy. And then obviously you learn how you change your life and made it a life that you do enjoy. Excuse me, sorry, I'm coming out a bit of a cough. I think what happens to people, well, this happens a lot, is people just get caught up in a routine every day. They're kind of living life, but they're kind of like in a robotic mode. They're just going with it. They're not really conscious. They don't really know what they're doing. It's just like you get stuck in a routine. It's like go work, come home, watch Netflix, eat the same food, watch the same sort of TV programs. You just get stuck in that pattern. And if you want to change your life, you've got to kind of like, you've got to snap out of it and break out of it, because you'll just keep doing the same thing and it becomes a routine. And that can be very difficult for people to break out, because people, as human beings, we always look for comfort and safety, and we find that through routines. But a lot of the times, the routines that we have are destructive. They're very, very boring. We're not growing in our routine. So real courage and fear is about breaking your routine. I'm not saying that having a routine is bad. It can be very, very good. But I'm saying it's bad when it's a defense mechanism and it's a cover-up. It's an escape from the truth, and you're just living in it, and it's making you miserable. Yeah, boxers have got immense courage, as you said, to go in the ring. They are a special type of breed. But at the end of the day, they're also human as well. They have fears, but they're able to face it. So that's why I've always admired boxers, for the reason that you said. Another problem as well that people face is that their relationship with time, that they use time as a way to escape from the now, from facing fear today, because there's never a better time than now. People say, when should I start a business? I'd say you should start one today. What you got to lose? If you start a business today and it fails, then you can keep going and fix it and make it succeed in the next 30 days. People say, but generally people say, when should I ask someone out? I want to get a date. Well, within reason, I'd say you should ask someone out today if you can. Why leave it? Life's too short anyway. So people put things off. They become addicted at putting things off. It's just too much talk, which is why I love the saying, actions speak louder than words. So that's something that I get my clients to do. I get them to, act as quick as they can, because I know if I don't get them to act as quick as they can, they're going to put it off. And then that word that now has become a cliche, procrastination. Procrastination is a fancy word that was designed to make people feel good about being cowards. It's fear in disguise, procrastination. People procrastinate because they're terrified of facing fear, and they're terrified of getting uncomfortable, and they're terrified of committing to the very task that they need to face. And you have to humble yourself, man. You have to not be ashamed of failing. I remember it wasn't the first, but it was one of the meetups I'd done many years ago, right? This is an interesting story. It's happened to me twice, and it's beautiful. I hope it will inspire a lot of you. And I organised this meetup, and I was hoping that there would at least be 6 people or 10 people, right? Because that's usually like kind of respectable. Do you know how many people turned up for my meetup? 1 person. I remember going to London, and it was I'd done the meetup at Pret a Manger. 1 guy turned up. But guess what? It was still a successful day, because I had the guts to put a meetup on and face my fear at that time. My fear was, well, what if no one turns up? That would be very embarrassing, wouldn't it? But it was beautiful, because I helped that guy. He got all the time. He appreciated it. I didn't know it was going to happen. He became a paid client because I'd done a free meetup. Then it made me realize, wow, one of my biggest fears that came true, it's not even bad. Like, I thought it was going to be so embarrassing. I thought I was going to feel so humiliated if I put an event on and only 1 guy showed up. But it was a great learning lesson. I still got to help someone. I got a client, I made money, and I helped him. The next meetup I'd done, like 10 people came. Then I've done meetups where 40 people have come, 50 people. But because I was willing to go through that That's how I was able to become successful. And I love Les Brown's quote. Les Brown changed my life. I love Les. Failure equals success. But a lot of people are not willing to go through that. Same when I first started my business. It didn't take off straight away. I didn't start making money in the first day. It was not like that. I started teaching for about, I done free coaching. I did it because I loved it. And if I'm being honest, because I didn't have the confidence to sell at that time. I didn't have the balls. So I did all my coaching for free for about 6 months. And I think it got to a point where a guy actually said, I want to pay you because I'm so happy with the results. And then after 6 months to about, I'd say around 6 months to 9 months, I thought, right, I love this, but I've got to make a living. I'm going to turn this into a business and face my fear, which I did. And then I met my girlfriend at the time. I fell in love. She supported me. She encouraged me. The love that we had gave me the strength to want to help people and grow some balls and charge for what I did, make it a full-time living, which I done. But for the first 6 months, I didn't make any money. But I was willing to go through that. Most people wouldn't do that, too proud. So you can't be too proud. You can't be so sensitive that you're not willing to fall on your ass. If you don't fall on your ass, then you're not going to get to the top in anything in life. You're not. It's not going to happen. You're going to be a weak person. And you're going to be so afraid. You're going to be so afraid of failing and embarrassing yourself that you're not going to take risks. That's what holds people back. They're so afraid of people laughing and saying, oh, do you know that person? He failed. I don't think about that because I'm excited about the journey. I understand. And someone's opinion of me is not more important than me facing my own fears and going out and making a difference to people. And I remember thinking, man, I want to inspire millions of people around the world. I want to make my life mean something. But for me to get to that point, I've got to get my shit together. I can't be teaching people and charging them and helping them if I don't live this myself. I don't have to be perfect in always, but I need to be way better than what I was being. And that motivated me because my motivation wasn't just about me. It wasn't just about me selfishly. It was about, I want to help other people. I don't want to be in this life where it's just me and my depression and my fears and my small world. I want to break out. I want to impact the world. I want to do what Les Brown said I could do, what anyone can do. And I want to do what I've always enjoyed doing, even when I was a kid at school, just helping the kid who's getting bullied and just being kind, helping him. It feels good. It feels good to be a kind person. What's wrong with that? But I knew no one's going to listen to me if I don't get my shit together. And I don't blame them. So I started to work on myself. I started to go into all areas of my life where I had self-doubt, huge insecurities, money, relationships, public speaking, creativity, YouTube, events, traveling, boxing, weight training. I went into all these areas and I practiced until I got better and better and the results came. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. But most people are not going to listen to me. They're going to listen to their negative friend who says, but you can't do it though. That's weird. That's strange. Or what are you going to do? You can't quit your job. Or you got to stay in this relationship. You can't get a better woman. It's not true. Where's the advice coming from? Does it come from a good place or a bad place? Most people get advice from people that are not qualified to be given that advice. I'm qualified to be given this advice because I live what I teach, and I've become successful with it and helped thousands of people, and I'm doing it every day. Today I was successful at doing an event and I loved it. Sure, go ahead. How to face heartbreak. It's a really tough one. It's a hard one. I think the way that you face it is by facing it. I don't think there's any other way. But one thing I would say that does help is support from friends. That helps me, and having a purpose in life. Because having a broken heart and no purpose is a double heartbreak. But if your heart's broken, but you have a purpose in your life and you love what you do and you're passionate, it will ease the pain. You will be able to get through it. But yeah, listen, we are all vulnerable to heartbreak, myself included, 100%. It's not a nice thing. It's a horrible thing to go through, but it is a part of life. You don't wish it on anyone. It's not something that I ever want to have, but inevitably we all go through it. But like I said, there's nothing more heartbreaking than not living your dreams, in my opinion, my experience, and living life as a coward. And, you know, selling yourself short and backing down and carrying away and protecting yourself and being careful. It's no way to live. You know, as Les Brown said, we can't get out of life alive. 1 second, guys, get some fruit. Got a mild flu. I don't think. Hopefully, it won't get any worse. I always get that realization when I do events. I love it for people, for anyone, especially for the guys like us who have the old anxiety, the old social anxiety, the nerves, the overthinking, the paranoia, the depression, the mood swings. I know all about it. But the good news is, even with all that stuff that you guys have got and I got, you can live a great life. That's really what I'm excited to share with people. I'm not some perfect person. I'm not someone on social media who tells you that there's some perfect guy who doesn't have any issues, who's got everything handled in life. That's not me. I'm not a fake person. That if someone's like that, then that's great. I'm someone who has issues, who has anxiety, who suffers with negative thoughts, who has mood swings, who gets down, who gets lonely, but I don't give up. And I'm still able to be happy in life. You know, obviously being happy, you're not happy every day, but live a life of purpose. You can see the passion I have. So that makes me feel, wow, if I can do it under the circumstances of having a mental health problem that I've had my whole life, then that's amazing. Because what can people do who follow me who maybe don't have the mental health problems that I've had, or maybe someone else? They can do even more. So there's no excuses. If you're shy, if you've got social anxiety, if you have paranoia, if you suffer with depression, if you don't have confidence, these are not excuses for not living your dreams. You can do it. I'm doing it. I've been doing it for 11 years. It's amazing. I'm confident for a lot of people. I know that the mindset. Lots of people live in the past. And when you live in the past, what's that, Timmy? You bought a Ninja 11 in 1 cook. Fantastic. When you live in the past, you can't move forward. That's another trick of fear. Fear will drag you into the past. It will make you think about all the things that make you depressed, all the people that put you down, and it will distract you from moving forward. So again, back to the teaching, when you take action, you're not in the past, you're in the now and you're in the future and you're moving forward and you feel great. One of my awesome clients said to me, he said, I have social anxiety, Jonathan, and I can't always get my words out around people. My words get stuck. I freeze. And I said, I had the same problem. Guess what? You can overcome it because I did it, and I'm going to help you on the program. We're working together. And he said, how do you do it? And I said, it's pretty straightforward, but you've got to work your arse off. You have to keep practicing speaking. You have to go to events. You have to practice in all your conversations. And you have to be mindful when the pattern comes in. So when the pattern comes in and it swallows you, not literally, but when kind of like when you feel yourself go, you seize up, and then you can't get your words out, they get stuck because you're scared to speak in case you're judged or shouted at or criticized or made to feel unimportant. You observe it, but you don't identify. You say, well, I'm aware I'm in the pattern now. I don't want to be in this place. And you've got to exercise the words out. You've got to practice speaking. So it's basically the way that you get good at speaking, if you have anxiety and you're nervous, is to practice speaking regularly. However you do it, live streams, Um, Actually, let me take that back because I don't think live streams are the best way to develop your voice when you have anxiety. It's one of the ways, but events are better. So the event that I ran today, that's why when I run my events, I let everybody speak. I don't just do all the speaking and give a public talk, because I know the value of letting people speak and enabling them to get relaxed in groups and to build their confidence. I'm going to have to get a bigger venue soon because this meetup group is starting to grow in numbers, which is great. So that will be the next challenge for me, which is great, which is figuring out a bigger venue that I can hold more people in. Because it won't be long before there'll be big numbers like years ago. So I'm really grateful for that. I absolutely love the meetups. One of my clients is doing my 1 year program, Philip. He started his own business, which is great. We're working on that, and he's done his own meetup, man. So it's incredible what he's done. He went and set his own meetup up and went and gave a talk and helped guys with their confidence. It just goes to show how far people can come if they're determined and they're committed and they really. That's the thing. If you really want to do something, you're going to do it. Yeah, I'm just processing some things to share that I learned recent. Discipline, motivation. You see, that's the challenge because you face your fear today and then you feel good, which is great. But then when you wake up tomorrow morning, you're not going to want to do it again. In some cases, in most cases for people, until they really get in that, they get into a certain point where their life's going well. But you have to push yourself. And it's always about getting beyond emotions and thoughts, mostly emotional, right? Excuse me, let me know, guys. When you're scared, when you're afraid, what is the main thing that you're scared of? It's your emotions, right? More so, excuse me. I know sometimes it's the mental side, but I would say more so the emotions of fear and anxiety, the butterflies in the stomach, the nervousness, the adrenaline. That's what really challenges people and can scare some people like to death, not literally to death, but to the point where they just can't do it. They just sort of freeze up and back out the situation. Any final questions? I'll be finishing up soon. The event was great today. We did about 3 hours plus. I was speaking that today. I loved it. Met some really nice people, and I've been doing this stream now. This is coming to about 70 minutes, so I'm gonna have a rest tonight. I think I've done enough, and then work on the clients this week. I've got some more YouTube videos. I'm gonna be doing a lot of videos again on social anxiety, fear, different fears, and sharing my story, and so you guys can figure out how you can do it. What I'd recommend everyone do today, if they really want to make a lot of progress from this live stream, I would get a pen and a piece of paper, or I would get your phone or a vision board, and I would be honest and I would write down all the things in your life that you want to do, which is usually all the areas where you're scared. I would make a list right today. I wouldn't leave it tomorrow, and then I would start facing it. No, we didn't go Porterhouse today. Was gonna go there. Went to a hotel in Charing Cross, called the Claremont. So yeah, I would write a list down, guys, and then I would gradually start to face those fears. Like, make a to-do list. Whether you do that in the next month or year, as long as you do it, you're going to change your life. The good thing about writing the list out is you can't avoid your honest fears, where if you don't write a list out, then it's almost invisible, isn't it? It's almost like I'm not scared of anything, or I don't want to deal with it right now. But when you write it down and you can read it, it's a relief, it's therapy, you letting it out, and then you can see, oh, okay, this is what I'm scared of, and this is what I need to face, whatever it may be. A final thing I'm going to share as well. When you face fear in reality, in most cases, not all but most, it's never ever as bad as what you think it will be in your own mind. So if I can reiterate that. So for people that are nervous to come to my event, when you think about coming to my event, it's terrifying. You'll be worried about lots of scenarios in your head. But when you actually come to the event, it ain't going to be that bad. It's going to be pretty good. Anyway, I finished today, guys. I've done enough. I think it's time to eat. And I will speak to you guys soon, so appreciate it, guys. Just to let you know as well, I've got a weekend program next weekend. This is for dating and relationships, especially. So if you're interested, send me an email. I've sold out loads of these programs already, which is great. I also do business coaching, a lot of social anxiety coaching, one-on-one, in person. I do long-term programs. I do short-term programs, 2-hour session. Whatever you're interested in, just send me an email and I'll get back to you, and we can see if we can work together. All right, appreciate the support, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day and look out for the new content I'm going to upload. Wish me luck. I hope I'm not coming down with bad flu. I really don't want to get sick right now. I've got clients to I've got clients to work with. I want to keep feeling good. All right, pleasure, guys.